All right, Joe, we'll say good morning. Let us begin. So we're resuming Emir Hashem, our limud in Sidkas HaTzadik, and we are picking up this morning Emir Hashem in Sif Mem Vav. So let's actually begin by looking at the Be'uri HaChasidus in the beginning of Mem Vav, where we have a beautiful introduction. The Rebbe writes, I know it's been a while since we've learned Sidkas HaTzadik. So the intro goes like this: Ba'oks HaKodemes, his ba'er sha'amnam yesh chatoim shein tshuva mo'ila lahem. So right, we learned before, again for us a long time ago, that the Zohar wrote that there are certain averus for which one cannot do tshuva. Now, the truth is, remember, when we say can't do tshuva, remember what the Rebbe taught us was that a person can't do tshuva on their own. Can't do tshuva on their own. Lachein, nitzrach lazeh koach miyuchad livro estikuno yesh me'ayin, va'al yidei shemargish ha'adam bi'atzmo shu ke'ayin u'ke'efes mamish. But rather, remember again, the Rebbe described that there are certain averus that are so fundamentally bad and evil and create such a fundamental flaw inside of me that the only way to go ahead and fix it is literally to start again. A brand new creation of myself, yesh me'ayin, something from nothing. Va'al yidei shemargish ha'adam bi'atzmo shu ke'ayin u'ke'efes mamish. And when a person begins to feel like he's a nothing, so again, so that's the Rebbe over here, Osmem Vav, the Rebbe giving us this Hakdama. Just remember certain Averos that are so severe, certain Averos that are so intense, that in order for me to remedy or rectify them, I have to start anew. It's not a question of Osmem, we spoke about this. Sometimes you could fix, there are things that are broken that I could fix, and other times, everything is just so fundamentally rotted. Everything is just so fundamentally compromised that the only choice I really have is to knock down and to start again. Os Memvav, Memvav, in the Hakdama, in the paragraph, the introduction, page Kuf Hey, we're using the same edition. Ato Yisbar Sha'af Imargish Ha'adam Bi'atzmo She'ina Misuga. So I just want to point out, remember, the Rebbe never chas v'shalom says, because no one ever says, that you can't do tshuva, that tshuva is impossible, that change is impossible. That's false. That's incorrect. All the Rebbe is saying is that sometimes change is possible. I could take what I have, and I could change it, and I could mold it, and I could redirect. And other times, I just have to start all over again. We'll say it's kind of sometimes if a person wants to do a home rehab project. So sometimes again you could take an existing structure and just put some new building materials on it, make something bigger, make something nicer, make something newer. Other times, if the foundation or the wood is just rotted through, so you can't start using that which is already there. You have to take it down and you have to build again. So sometimes I could rehab what I have. Other times I need to take down the structures I've built and rebuild something new. Interestingly enough, he says, Ata yispa'er sha'af imargish adam bi'atzmo she'ina misugal hagia l'shiflos v'anava kazu. So I'll say now we're going to talk about what happens in a situation where a person feels that he can't even do this. What happens when I feel sometimes in life that a new start, a new beginning is just not possible. Again, he'll define what we mean in just a moment. So also with that, let's begin. Kasuv b'Tehillim. So also we're gonna learn this piece in the Be'uri HaChasidus on the bottom. So Kasuv b'Tehillim. It says in Tehillim, Ulurasha Amar Elokim Malcha l'Saper Chukai. This is a very profound pasuk. Perek Nun pasuk Tazayin. David HaMelech says, Ulurasha, to the wicked one, Amar Elohim, God says, Ma l'cha l'saper chukai. Why are you telling over my statutes? So literally translated, God says to the Rasha, God says to the wicked one, why are you telling over my statutes? So it says Reb Tzaddik. What's the meaning of that pasuk? He says, Mashma mizeh, shekol mishu begeder Rasha, ein lo lilmod Torah. So B'Pashtus, Reb Tzaddik says what it means is HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to the Rasha, why are you learning my Torah? Don't speak the words of Torah. Don't speak the words of Torah. Right? In other words, you're disobeying me. You're not living in accordance with my will. You're going ahead and totally abdicating your responsibilities towards me. You're living a life of a Rasha. And I must remember again, to be called a Rasha, it's not just the pshat that, I spoke during Chazar Sashatz. That's not good either. When David HaMelech says the Rasha, he said, I'm a Rasha. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to Rasha, don't learn I don't want you learning my Torah. Don't learn my Torah. So what does that mean? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells the Rasha, don't learn my Torah? He says, Ve'al, turn the page Kovav, Ve'al davar zeh, yidvu kol hadovim. Kol mi sheyesh lahem leiv ledavos yidvu al zeh. Kilomar, mi shedoeg al avonosav, v'choshesh shema ulai lo shav b'tshuva karoi aleihem, yachshosh v'yizar mililmo Torah, mipnei kasav zeh. Shabbos says, so the truth is, there are times in life where I'm a Rasha. There are times. There are things that I do that label me a Rasha. Again, I will say, I don't like to look at myself as a Rasha because my netiya, my desire is not to do bad things. But Lamaisa, in life, you're not judged by your intentions, you're judged by your actions. So there are times in life where based on my actions, I'm a Rasha. I've done Merushadika things. I've done bad things. So now what do I do with this? So the Ribbono Shalom tells me, Ulu Rasha, if you're a Rasha, don't learn my Torah. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, don't learn my Torah. It's okay. You want to be a Rasha? This is what you want to do. This is how you want to live. Don't learn my Torah. So what happens? There are times in life where I do things. I always say, now watch this. But sometimes, I become a Rasha, because at times in life I do become a Rasha. And then I think to myself, but I did tshuva. But maybe my tshuva wasn't really a worthy tshuva. Maybe at the end of the day, my tshuva wasn't really complete. It wasn't really sincere. If that's the case, do I really even have a right to learn the Ribbono Shel Olam's Torah? See, he goes on, he says, Yachshosh, v'yizar milamot rabnei kasav zeh, v'davar zeh shayich gam be'elu sheshomrim hamitzvos b'derech klal. And I will say, even those who keep the mitzvahs in a general sense could run into this issue. Ki haregam ha'adam ha'overak al divrei sofrim iser dirabanan nikra rasha kimo she'amru b'yevamis kol mi she'ino mekayim is divrei chachamim she'nikra rasha ki she'avar al divrei meitzir. I will say, just to further complicate this, we often think that the term or the title Rasha is associated with those who commit some pretty heinous and severe acts. Well, the Gemara Maseches Yevamah says that anyone who intentionally violates the Rabbanans is also called a Rasha. So I will say, so that's not the best news to start the day with, right? So kind of like, I don't know, I've intentionally violated the Rabbanans. Again, I think it happens. I don't want to say it happens often, but it happens often. So a person, not unintentionally, but I know that something is a halacha. I don't do it for whatever the reason. Maybe I don't fully subscribe to it. Maybe I'm just not on the level to do it. But I know what the halacha is, and I don't perform the halacha. The Gemara in Yevamah says such a person is called a Rasha. So now, what do I do with this? So sometimes in life, I must acknowledge that I am a Rasha. That is a fact. And now the other fact is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells me, it says, Rasha Amar, Rasha, I don't want you learning my Torah. So what do I do? So look what the Rebbe says. This is absolutely incredible. Aval al ze amra kadmonim. Goes on page Kuf Vav, the Be'urei HaChasidus, the left-hand column. Aval al ze amra kadmonim. Es maimar chazal. Kol ma sheyomar balabayis asei chutz mitzei. It will say so what happened? So just to give you the context, actually you can see, this is Pesachim, we're going to see this in a little bit. There's a halacha. Anything the balabayis tells you, you have to do. Right? In general, if you're a guest at someone's house, whatever the balabayis tells you, you have to do. The balabayis tells you, please, I want you to take the brisket first. You have to listen to the balabayis, right? Balabayis tells you, please bench. You have to listen to the balabayis. Balabayis says, help clean up. You have to listen to the balabayis. There's only one thing you don't have to listen to. If the balabas tells you get out, you don't have to get out. Now, practically speaking, I don't know exactly how this plays out, right? If you're a guest at someone's house and they tell you get out, and you're like, nah, not yet, not yet. You know what? I'm very comfortable here. It's very nice. I saw that sofa when I walked in. So I figured after lunch, I'm just going to take a little nap over there. So technically speaking, you have to listen to everything the balabas tells you, except for get out. That was, I just tell you, from a halachic perspective, so some posit, the Sfas Emes has a beautiful piece where he explains that this halacha was a response to the Kamsa Bar Kamsa story. That, remember again, the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, at least in part because of a story of someone kicking someone else out of their home. As a result of that, the Gemara says that whatever a Balabais tells you have to do except get out. No Jew has the right to kick any other Jew out of his home. Out of his home, that was the response. But look what Reb Tzadok does. What does this mean? Balabais, Hainu HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Balabas, that's the Ribbon Shalom. Kach Nemar, Shekol Ma Sheyomer Lecha Asei, Me'amitzvahs Asei. So what does it mean? Kol Ma Shetomer Lecha Balabais, whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells you to do, all the mitzvos Asei, all the mitzvos Lo Sasei, whatever the Ribono Shel Olam commands you to do, you have to do. But I will say, amazingly enough, there's one exception to this rule. There is one thing where if HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells you to do it, you don't have to listen. And what's that? Chutz mitzei. Shem yomar lecha tzei mi beisi. V'al tikanis al tishmalo. Ela tikanis b'tshuva. I will say, isn't this absolutely amazing? You have to listen to every single thing the Ribono Shel Olam tells you, with one exception. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I don't want you anymore. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, get out of my house. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I'm not accepting your tshuva. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I don't want you learning my Torah. I don't have to listen. I don't have to listen. It will say, Kol ma shetomar lecha balabayis asei, chutz mitzei. So it says, you hear what this is? We're conditioned all the time. Whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, that's what you do. You listen. Of course, we're good soldiers. Whatever the Ratzon Hashem is, whatever Hashem asks of me, I do, with one exception. If Hashem says, I don't want you, I say, I'm not listening to you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You don't want me? Okay, it's fine. I still want you. I still want you. Get out. Okay, you want me to get out? Get out. I heard you. I'm not listening. Don't learn my Torah. Thank you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I hear, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to comply. I'll listen to everything else you say. But if you try to drive me away from you, that I will never listen to. That I will never listen to. Kol ma shetomar lecha balabayis asei chutz mitzei. Whatever the balabas Chadosh Baruch Hu tells you to do, except if he tells you to get out. So Reb Tzadok, we'll stop over today, but Reb Tzadok's going to say, yeah, there's a pasuk that says, "U'lerasha amar Elokim alecha l'saper chukai." That Chadosh Baruch Hu says to the Rasha, I don't want you learning my Torah. Why should you learn my Torah? You don't love me. You don't care about me. You violated my will. Don't learn my Torah. So I hear it. I say, okay, noted. And then what do? Continue learning Torah. Because sometimes, again, I listen to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with anything and everything. But if he tries to push me away, that I'm not going to listen to. All right, we'll stop over here. So that's the truth is already earlier. The Shlach HaKadosh has this comment. This already is a well-ingrained teaching in Chasidus. This Kol ma shetomar lecha balabayis asei chutz mitzei. Because it's unfathomable that the Ribono Shel Olam would push a Jew away. It's unfathomable that such a thing would happen. See, even when HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, the truth is, I take it back. We're going to see he bases it on an episode in Chumash. That's the real answer. Meretz Hashem to be continued.